Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're trying something a bit different, almost like uncovering a hidden map. Imagine a kind of scarlet thread, a lineage, woven through sources you might not expect.
Exactly. We're exploring this idea of a specific priestly bloodline. It starts, really, with Phineas. His zealous act secured a covenant, right? A perpetual priesthood.
The covenant of peace.
The covenant of life and peace, tied back to Levi. And the claim is this line was divinely preserved, marked by a specific Y-DNA haplogroup, R1b, and symbolized by the Urim Thummim.
R1b. Interesting. And this has prophetic ties.
Yes, that's the core thesis. Fulfillment in John the Baptist, and maybe a future echo in an end-time Elijah figure.
Okay, let's unpack this because, wow, that's quite a claim. It feels like we're piecing together clues from, well, all over history.
Right.
So where's the starting point for you, the listener, in all this?
I think we have to start with Scripture, the foundations.
Right. So the priestly course of Abijah, that seems key. Nehemiah 12.17 mentions Zikri leading this course after the exile. And Zikri means memorable.
Memorable. It's like a divine note saying, pay attention to this one. God intended to remember this family.
And then, boom, Luke 1.5, centuries later, Zacharias, John the Baptist's father,
Is explicitly named as being of the course of Abijah.
It connects them directly. An unbroken, remembered link. Pretty remarkable, isn't it?
It is. And it's not just names or text. The temple itself might sort of encode this.
Just so.
Well, think about Haggai 2.18. It mentions 24. That's widely seen as referencing the 24 priestly courses King David set up.
Okay, the 24 courses.
Then look at Ezekiel 40.31. It describes 8 steps leading to the inner court. 8 steps. The 8th course was Abijah's.
Wow. So the architecture itself is pointing to this specific lineage, like a signpost built into the temple path.
Kind of like that, yeah. The path into God's presence might be marked with this family's identity.
Okay, so the lineage is marked in scripture, maybe even in stone. Was there a physical object, like a token of authority tied to this?
That brings us to the Urim Thummim. Sources suggest it wasn't 2 stones, but 1 object, maybe set in gold. Some even speculate 12-karat bislig gold from the ancient Philippines.
Ancient Philippines. That hints at some serious trade routes back then.
It really does.
Yeah.
And this object is identified by some with the stone with 7 eyes from Zechariah 3.9.
7 eyes, meaning divine insight.
Precisely, because this wasn't just for show. It was apparently a functional tool for infallible revelation, passed down within these priestly lines.
A direct line to divine guidance carried by this specific family.
Signifying that living prophetic authority vested right in that bloodline.
Okay, this is fascinating, historically, scripturally.
Yeah.
But you mentioned modern evidence, genetics.
Right, the R1b Y-DNA haplogroup. Now stick with us here. Y-DNA passes pretty much unchanged from father to son. It's like a genetic surname.
And R1b, I usually associate that with Western Europe.
That's the common understanding, yeah. But some research suggests deeper origins, maybe Central Asia or the Middle East, possibly even connected way back to Abraham's ancestors.
So how does it become so dominant in Europe if it started elsewhere?
Well, the theory we're looking at suggests it's tied to the migration of the lost tribes of Israel after Assyria scattered them, a massive population movement westward.
Recontextualizing European history in a pretty major way, is there archaeological DNA evidence for R1b back in the Levant?
There is. Ancient R1b Y-DNA has been found right there, specifically at Megiddo in Israel, dated to the Bronze Age, so it was present in the region.
Okay, but here's the linchpin for me. Most priests, the Kohanim, are linked to J1 or J2 haplogroups, right?
Generally, yes. But the sources for this deep dive point to a distinct ancient R1b Kohanim group.
So 2 lines from Aaron, a general priesthood, maybe J1, J2, and then this specific Phinean line, the zealous one with the covenant of peace, and that's the R1b line.
That's the implication. It could explain why John the Baptist's ministry felt so separate, so different from the temple establishment of his time. He represented that other stream, the zealous R1b stream.
Wow. Okay. So John the Baptist is the first major prophetic fulfillment of this preserved line.
Exactly. The genetic and spiritual heir, fulfilling that promise of Elijah coming before the first advent. His ministry had that zealous preparatory fire.
And you mentioned a second fulfillment.
Yes, the sources point towards the future. An end-time Elijah, also a priest, but specifically from the line of Zadok, who descends from Phineas.
Zadok, so still connected to that original covenant.
Right, and this figure is prophesied to lead a renewed Levitical priesthood, preparing the way, this time, for the second advent.
So it's like a continuous divine purpose, unfolding across thousands of years, tied to this one specific lineage.
When you lay it all out, scripture, genetics, artifacts, prophecy, it does seem to converge, doesn't it? A coherent map, almost, pointing to this bloodline preserved for these key moments.
It really does. Seeing ancient prophecy potentially connect with modern genetics, it certainly illuminates this single unbroken thread. Makes you think, what other hidden stories are lying dormant in our past, just waiting for unexpected evidence like DNA or maybe some forgotten text to bring them to light? What else might we uncover?